Forrest. Welcome to this gathering hosted by the Unitarian Universalist Church of Bowling Green. Whether you're present here in person or online, we're glad you're joining us. If you do have one of these handy electronic devices, I ask that you please set it to silent. Thank you. We are a welcoming congregation. Whoever you are, however you identify, wherever you come from, and whoever you love, please know that you are welcome here. Our Sunday services are different each week. We have different speakers, different themes, and this Sunday is a special Sunday. As you might notice, we have a lot of flowers in the front. It's one of our special sharing Sundays, and we'll be talking more about that as we get into the service. And though we each walk our own path here in this place and now at this time, we journey together as one community. Part of our community, and part of the larger community of Unitarian Universalists around the world, is the symbol of the flaming chalice. It was started during World War II by the Unitarian Service Committee, and you can see the picture they used, an oval with the chalice in the center. And they used that as they went through Europe, reaching out to refugees and helping them escape the Nazis. The shape of it has changed over the years. Every congregation kind of makes up its own unique shape of a chalice. We are very fortunate indeed to have this beautiful stained glass chalice in the front lobby, created by our very own person here, so thank you. Thank you. She's also created these wonderful symbols of other faiths in our tall windows here in this sanctuary. But here is our chalice, and it will be lit today by James Miller, and he also has a reading to go with it.
Like the first hint of green. As the first hint of green begins to peek through the barren ground, as that little sprig grows into a healthy stem, as that stem grows into a stalk and forms a bud, as that bud slowly opens with each new day to form a yellow daffodil. Let us be like that first hint of green, renewed by the warmth of the sun's rays and ready to emerge with a new energy, ready to face the day. As we light this chalice to bring a glimmer of that warmth into our space.
Please join in singing hymn 362, Rise Up, O Flame. If anyone has any flowers they're still holding on to, you can bring them forward and put them in the vases now. Sorry, we should have said that earlier. And James, you ready?
We could complain because rose bushes have thorns. Let us instead give thanks because thorn bushes have roses.
I'd like to give credit to the person who came up with that, but the internet gave me about 15 answers, and most of them was, we really don't know. So it's a folk saying. There we go. At this time, we're going to sing We Give Thanks, hymn number 1010 in your teal hymnal. If you would like to rise in body or spirit as the Spirit moves you, Forrest, here we go. We're going to give thanks for flowers today. So one of the other things we're going to give thanks for today is kind of a sharing moment. I'm inviting everybody. Usually when we do a responsive reading, the person here says one line and everybody else says the other line. But today, you will say whatever line speaks to you. They're going to be up here. And if you want to move with the shape of what you're seeing up there or express yourself physically, go for it. Because we come in a variety of colors, shapes, and sizes. So we're going to end. Some of us grow in bunches. Can you bunch? Anybody bunch? Some of us grow alone. Speak up. If you are a lone person, speak up. There we go. Some of us are cupped inward. Yeah. Spread ourselves out wide. Come on, go wide. How wide can you get? Can you take up all? Can you spread out over your chairs? Come on. There you go. What's next? Some of us are old and dried, but tougher than we appear. That's right, that's right. Some of us, young folk want to say that. And people of any age who feel like you're still budding and still growing, some of us still in bud. Next. Some of short folk, short people, low to the ground. Okay, I can't say this next part, somebody else has to. There we go. Some of us feel like weeds sometimes. Yep. Some of us carry seeds sometimes. And some of us are prickly sometimes. Yeah. Some of us smell, hopefully in the lovely floral sense. All of us are beautiful. What a bouquet of people we are. Thank you. So that was sort of the fun way of flowers, of thinking of all the different shapes and kinds of flowers. One of the other use of flowers, of course, is we often bring them to funerals and memorial services. And today, James Miller is going to be sharing with us.
So I was asked to give a prayer given the recent gun violence. But first, I also was asked to give a little bit of an intro about me. My name is James Miller. You've seen me around. I recently joined. My wife and I came to Bowling Green about 15 years ago, 16 years ago. I'll stop counting those numbers. And I came here as a church planter, a pastor of a small church plant in Morgantown. And that was kind of just come out of Bible school. So that was kind of a beginning of a spiritual journey for me. We realized that church plant was a church split. We kind of got everybody back together, and then we were in Bowling Green. Not sure what to do, definitely rethinking my approach to religion. Bible school, I'd already realized I was a bit more liberal than Liberty University was, of which I attended. And my wife found a job that she really loved, and so we kind of hung out here. I went back to Western, got a degree in philosophy, served at a couple little churches, bounced around. Eventually, we found the Eastern Orthodox Church. We found that in a meeting of people who were looking to work for social justice. Pretty soon, this little group started converting, and all of a sudden, there was a church, Holy Apostles Orthodox Church, which is over off on Small House Road. We were part of that community for its entire existence, about 10 years. In leaving that tradition, I had trained for clergy. However, my liberal views were understood, and it was quietly whispered that was probably not going to work. A number of other frustrations led us to step away from the Orthodox Church. That was a very difficult thing. I put a lot of time, effort, energy. My master's of theology is in Eastern Orthodox studies, applied Orthodox theology. When that all happened, I found this place. That was a number of years ago. We kind of landed in a certain way here. I always felt it was a place I could go and not feel like I had to make certain decisions. I jumped around between Eastern Christianity, which led me to Buddhism, which a lot of Eastern Christians read, oddly enough. So this became kind of that background place that I always felt I could go as we kind of moved around. Currently, I serve as an archpriest for the Convergent Christian Community Communion. I mostly help administrate a couple churches that are planting, and they are LGBTQ affirming liberal Eastern expressions, places for those that are Eastern Christians or Eastern Catholics to go and have support. And that's been something I've done kind of on the remote, trying to use up some of those years of experience. I joined this church because of the diversity. I joined this church because of that justice is a part of the spiritual life here, and that's always been really important to me. And again, this particular place has always kind of just been here in a certain way and in the background for us. And so it's in discussing why I would join this congregation, it's easy to give these kind of, I agree with the principles, I agree with this, these are my things, but often I find we believe and we come into belief via an experience. My experience of this place was probably top tier in why I've joined. So I wanted to thank this community for being here, and hopefully I can serve any way I can. I was asked to also give a prayer for the recent gun violence. And it's difficult. That's a difficult place to pray. And so in the Eastern tradition, and a lot of traditions, prayer isn't always a asking or something of the nature. Sometimes it is just being in one's sorrow. In the Eastern tradition, we call it joyful sorrow. And that's an okay place to be. It's contradictory. And this is a contradictory experience for us, I think. It's very difficult to witness the death of innocence in that way. So I offer a lament. Let us lament with all those who are touched by gun violence. Let us lament the shooter's choice for violence. Let us lament laws that allow violent people easy access to guns. Let us lament our politicians' unwillingness to work for change. Let us lament with the hearts broken by loss. Let us lament all the lives cut short. Let us lament our lack of action. Let us lament. And then let us rise from our prayer to work for change. Thank you. We will now have a few moments for meditation, reflection, and prayer. The singing bowl will lead us into silence. After the silence, you're invited to join in the song Spirit of Life. The words will be on the screen.
This congregation and the work that we do is supported by the voluntary generosity of all who contribute. The offering is a sacrament of the Free Church. We invite you to place donations in the two bowls on your way out, and there's also going to be some online options that way. And of course, you can always send a check directly to our church office. Some people like to do that once a week. If you have come in and you have flowers during the offertory, please feel free to come up and place them on the table. We are going to be enjoying some special music today.
Thank you. Well, hi. This is a song called You've Got to Walk That Lonesome Valley. It's an old gospel song from the 19th century. It was popular in both white and black traditions, and there's not a lot of songs that made it over that barrier. So it's also going to be one of those fun sing-along sort of things. So I'm going to do the first verse so you can kind of get a sense of what it's all going to sound like, and then you can y'all join in. You've got to walk that lonesome valley. You've got to walk it by yourself. There's nobody here can walk it for you. You've got to walk that valley for yourself. So the lyrics are, you've got to walk that lonesome valley. You've got to walk it for yourself. There's nobody here can walk it for you. You've got to walk that valley for yourself. So I'm going to sing the first half, and I'll wave you in. You can all sort of echo me. You've got to walk that lonesome valley. You've got to walk it by yourself. There's nobody here can walk it for you. You've got to walk that valley for yourself. My mother had to walk that lonesome valley. She had to walk it for herself. There's nobody here can walk it for her. She had to walk that valley for herself. And you've got to walk that lonesome valley. You've got to walk it by yourself. There's nobody here can walk it for you. You got to walk that valley by yourself. Jesus had to walk that lonesome valley. He had to walk it by himself. There's nobody there can walk it for him. He had to walk that valley by himself. And you've got to walk that lonesome valley. You've got to walk it by yourself. There's nobody here can walk it for you. You've got to walk that valley by yourself. You all sound good. Thank you.
Thank you. That's beautiful. And fun, too. We thank you for your gifts. May we use them wisely in the service of our congregation and our community. We also want to take a moment to thank everybody who worked behind the scenes and in front of the scenes sometimes to make this possible. Of course, our musicians, Forrest, John, we just heard from them. Thank you. Matt, behind the curtain. Yay, Matt. And James is being a reader today, and we look forward to hearing from him more. And of course, Diane keeps us all organized and reminds us when we need to get things done.
And Janine.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And everything that goes into making our Sunday services happen. The place is clean. We have greeters to say hi, friendly folk. All of you coming here today makes the service what it is. So thank you. If you have questions or you'd like to learn more about us, please talk to our membership committee people. Anybody here with Sharon and Aileen? Okay. And, you just chat with anybody, and please do that. And check out our Facebook page and sign up for our email list so you find out what's going on. We do have a tiny bit of community news that I was told about. Our July 3rd service is actually a potluck service, and that means come and eat together. So it's going to be in the other room, other building, and please bring food to share. That's the first Sunday in July. So that's what's coming then. Any other important congregational news that people need to hear about for this coming week? Okay, check your emails and stuff like that to find out what else is going on. Okay, and we are up for another hymn. There's a river flowing in my soul, number 1007, again in the teal hymnal. Please rise if you would like. Thank you. As I mentioned at the beginning of this service, every Sunday is a little different, and today is what we often call the flower celebration. Some congregations refer to it as the flower communion, flower ceremony, and it usually happens around this time of year. It depends where you live, of course. If you're up in Minnesota, you may do it later in June, and if you're down in Florida, you may decide to have it a little earlier in the spring. The first celebration of flowers was created by the Reverend Norbert Čapek in Prague, Czechoslovakia. It was on the 4th of June, so we're actually really close to when the first one was, 99 years ago. So next year, I suspect with the 100th anniversary, we may be really doing up a little bit more. And his wife, who was also a minister, the Reverend Maya, I might be pronouncing that wrong, it might be Maya, sorry, Čapek, she came to the United States and brought that celebration to congregations here in 1940. And it has spread through the years, and so now many UU congregations have this special celebration. And this is a blessing that my son's kindergarten class did, many years ago. It's a little scary to realize how far it was. And it was a little blessing they said before they ate. Blessings on the blossom, blessing on the fruit, blessings on the leaf and stem, blessings on the root. And it was just a nice way of remembering. We're looking at the flowers here. These are lovely. they are not the only parts of the plant. And in fact, there's roots, obviously, they suck up nutrients from the ground and water. There's the stem that holds the flowers up, the leaves that capture sunshine and feed the plant, and then the flowers. And the flowers exist for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to attract pollinators. They're looking to get critters to come towards them and spread their pollen around and create seeds. Thank you. More flowers. Excellent. Because without the seeds, then there's no more plants. So these flowers are just one step in these plants' journeys. It's the one that we seem to appreciate mostly. And it's just something to remember that there's more to life than just the brief flowering stage when everything is pretty. Sometimes we look like we're going to seed, and that's good. And sometimes we are dry and kind of prickly, and that's got the time too. And sometimes we're gone. We're below ground in the soil waiting for spring, and that is another season of life. And so when you come up today to take a flower, I'd like you to think about all the stages of life and the stages of the life of a flower. So part of this flower celebration, the Reverend Chapek was in a congregation back in 1923, and it was a mix of Protestants, Catholic, Jews, people without specific religions, and he was bringing them all together, and he wanted one ceremony that everybody could share in that was unique to them and that didn't remind people or smack too much of one religion that the other group wasn't comfortable with. And he came up with this flower celebration. And it's very simple. Each of us has brought a flower today. They're all different. They come from different places, just like we do. And what happens next is there's going to be some music playing, and you come up and you choose a flower to take with you, and you take it back to your seat. And that's all there is to this ceremony. It's pretty simple, and yet it can be very meaningful. So at this time, Florist is going to play a little something, as he likes to say, and invite everyone to come up and choose the flower that speaks to you. So one of the parts of the ceremony that the Reverend Chapek came up with was a consecration, and I invite you all to do this as a responsive reading. It's number 724 in the gray hymnal. The words are also up on the screen. I'm going to read the Roman, and if you all would read the italic. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessing on these, thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship. Whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do thy work in this world. Thank you. We're going to finish this little ritual with a song. It's 402, I think. From you I receive, to you I give. It's very short. Hymn number 402 in the gray hymnal. And we haven't sung it for a while, but we're going to sing it twice through. And it sort of symbolizes what we have just done. Forrest? Here we go. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. One more time. From you I receive, and to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. Thank you. James will be giving our final reading this morning.
Everything that slows us down and forces patience, everything that sets us back into the slow circles of nature is a help. Gardening is an instrument of grace. Help us to be ever faithful gardeners of the Spirit, who know that without darkness, nothing comes to birth, and without light, nothing flowers.
We're now going to bid farewell to those who have joined us online. We hope you found this service meaningful and you have flowers of your own at home. And we invite you to join us again. Be well and go in peace.